Very good afternoon and welcome to Mount Lavinia as we look out over the coconut trees as St. Thomas's look to host their third game in a row here at the big club grounds against Kingswood. The boys from Randall Hills have made a long trip down from Kandy all the way. It's a sparse crowd gathered here today. We should be getting a few more into the ground, I'm sure, as you watch this broadcast live on the papare.com, wherever you are in Sri Lanka or the world. And a very good evening also to all our fans joining us from Kandy, hoping that the boys in red might just do a number on the boys in blue. Joining me in the commentary box for St. Thomas's versus Kingswood, Sudarshana Peiris. Good evening, Sudarshana.
Very good evening to you, Shanak, and also very good evening to all our viewers joining us on Sri Lanka's number one sports hub. Beautiful view here at the big club grounds at St. Thomas's College, Mount Lavinia, so very close to the sea. And from anywhere in the world, if you're seeing these pictures, you know that you are in the coast. You are right at the heart of St. Thomas's College. Two teams that are eager to get a win under their belt. Shanak, the third week back-to-back. St. Thomas's are playing at home. It's a massive advantage to them. Kingswood, on the other hand, are reeling from a defeat. They want to make sure that they get their season started with a win here. Yeah,
just watching the warm-ups a little while ago, Sudarshan, it doesn't look like Kingswood are reeling as much. They look confident. They look like an outfit that are ready to run against this Tomian team, because not just this season's form, St. Thomas's have had one win, one loss, but over the years, Kingswood have been a team that's been on the up, and St. Thomas's have kind of plateaued a little bit. So I think Kingswood and their coaches Malik Hettiarachi and Rizmir Jabba will be quite confident going into this game, because running rugby is something that Kingswood have been getting back to after they had a bit of a dip in maybe the mid to late teens. But now they're starting to come up, and these teams have met before on the sevens field, and Kingswood have really run St. Thomas's ragged a little bit. So they will be looking to emulate that form in the 15s as well.
Weather forecast for currently max temperature 35. Currently feels like it's around the 32 mark, but there was a nice wind that was blowing from left to the right of your screens, but currently it's nice and cloudy, and the players will hope, especially the ones from the hill capital, will hope that the conditions will remain the same.
Well, it is cloudy, and that means it's quite humid, Sudarshana, which means that we might see these players tiring towards the end of the game. So I think we might see the last quarter opening out just a little bit if the conditions stay like this. Also, it's a difficult ground for people to come to, not purely because of the distance, but of course because that turf plays a big part in the middle of the game, the turf wicket. That's going to be a little bit of a problem for teams that are not used to it, because the ball bounces differently, and of course running on it and scrumming on it makes a little bit of a problem, which makes the home advantage a little bit more palpable for St. Thomas's. Here's the points table. The Dialog Schools Rugby League 2023. Isipathan is sitting nice and pretty on top of it. 3 wins out of 3. St. Anthony's, with that big win against St. Joseph's in the opening match of the week, of the season I should say, are in second place. A surprise for DS Senanaika, not a team we're used to seeing in those first 3 positions, but looks like they might be able to hold it given the way that they have been playing this season. St. Thomas's, St. Joseph's, Wesley and Kingswood in this Group 1A.
Interesting group here. Isipatana, clear dominant team there, but St. Joseph's will be disappointed that they find themselves at number 5. It's a difficult place to come up from for the top 2. The other group, Group 2A, Royal, Trinity, Dharmaraja, Vidyartha, all played 2 games each. Royal picking up 2 bonus points, 1 losing bonus point and winning bonus point. This one looks like a much closer group, because everybody have lost a game. Almost everyone has lost a game except Zahira, who's played one, won one, Shanaka. So it's going to be a very, very interesting group, and a lot will be decided today.
Yes, certainly. Lots of games taking place, and Science taking on Zahira. That's going to be a pitched battle. That's going to be at Maradano, of course. And we have Vidyartha taking on Royal, and that's going to be lots of running rugby there, as well as we look at the fixtures that we have for today in that group. We have Royal taking on Vidyartha. That should be kicking off any time now at the Royal Complex. Zahira taking on Science, and of course Dharmaraja taking on St. Peter's, who are still looking to really recover from that first round defeat, for the first round win against Royal. They'll be hoping that they will be able to play a little bit more better rugby and find that form against Dharmaraja.
Yes, very important 3 games here. Royal taking on Vidya, the Royals' first home game. That is at the Royal Complex. It will be live on channel 126 on Dialog TV. If you're watching this on channel 119 on Dialog TV, we have another game going on TV as well. Zahira versus Science College from Maradana, and that's going to be up on the papare.com, and Dharmaraj taking on St. Peter's at Bogambara. It will, like you said, will be an interesting game because Dharmaraj had a taste of a giant kills performance in their opening game, went down to Zahira, so they'll be very hungry to make sure that they make a comeback against St. Peter's.
Yes, it certainly will be. And Dharmaraj, after that big win against Sriti, will be having a massive confidence boost, that's for sure. As we see the Kingswood kicker lining up in his warm-ups from almost a 50-meter line. So just goes to show the kind of confidence they have. He will want to get used to how the wind is blowing. As we see the Kingswood team in their red warm-up t-shirts warming up. And they look good with the ball in hand. They look nice and slick, some good short passing. And I think they will try to steer well clear of the close exchanges with this Tomian team as we see them in their blue warm-up t-shirts. They'll want to steer clear of the heavy traffic and try and make sure that they run around the Tomians. That's exactly what Isipathana did last week as well. And we'll come back after the break to show you exactly how that's going to pan out live on the Papare.com, St. Thomas's versus Kingswood.
Smiley bedenawa Ona velavakas nakkaka dakkama hita fix venawa Sarata kamati ay dawasa purawata sara illanawa Calypso mix it ona velavaka nagalama yanawa Boring life ek break up karagala salsa natanawa Lulu ratawata onion kick ek full happening venawa Manchi ratatama rasa bedena manji rasa balakaya dan alut vela
Hey, have you heard about Z?
Z.
KYC.
Easy.
Mobile banking. Crazy.
Education loans and salary advances.
Amazing. Introducing the Digital Youth Account. NDBZ. NDBZ from NDB Bank. The future is banking on us.
ඕගොල්ලොත් එන්නේ ඉවෙන්ට් එකට. ඩ්‍රෙස් කෝඩ් එක black.
Black? No problem.
නව වැඩි දියුණු කළ ඩැන්ඩෙක්ස් ඇක්ටිව් ක්ලිම්බසෝල් පළමු සේදීමෙන්ම ඉස්සොරි ඉවත් කරයි ස්වභාවික සාරයන් හිස පෝෂණය කරයි
නටමුද?
No problem.
හැමදාම ඩැන්ඩෙක්ස් නම්
හැමදාම no problem.
ඩැන්ඩෙක්ස් හිස නිදහසේ ඉදිරියට
Aloe vera and mint for freshness. Chamomile for sensitive skin. Lemon and lime for an energetic day. Big shaving foam. A change you must experience.
Coloma, beautiful outside and inside.
ඕනම දෙයක් කරන්න විදියක් තියෙනවා. ඒ තමයි තමන්ගේ විදිය. ජීවිතය අත්විඳින්න. ආත්ම විශ්වාසයෙන් නැගී සිටින්න. බෝල්ඩ් ඔපම වෙන්න.
Coloma, beautiful outside and inside.
නැවුම් බව රැකදෙන කුමාරිකා මිට් සංවේදී සමකට කැමෝයිල් බික් ෂේවිං ෆෝම් අත්විදිය හැකි වෙනසකට ඕනම දෙයක් කරන්න විදියක් තියෙනවා. ඒ තමයි තමන්ගේ විදිය. ජීවිතය අත්විඳින්න. ආත්ම විශ්වාසයෙන් නැගී සිටින්න. බෝල්ඩ් ඔපම වෙන්න.
Hey, have you heard about Z?
Z. KYC.
Easy.
Mobile banking. Crazy.
Education loans and salary advances.
Amazing. Introducing the Digital Youth Account. NDBZ. NDBZ from NDB Bank. The future is banking on us.
බව රැකදෙන කුමාරිකා හම්බිට් සංවීධී සමකට කැමෝයිල් බික් ෂේවින් ෆෝම් අත්විදිය හැකි වෙනසකට.
හිත දාල නැත වෙනා වන්නිනිම වින්නුනා සරදාවී අතනාරි කොක්ටුමී පන්තමා කොක්ටුමී පන්තමා ප්‍රීමා කොක්ටුමී පන්තමයි.
Enjoy the infinite possibilities of the freedom of space, inspired by the beauty of our land. Sri Lanka's finest finished, largest sized porcelain tile collection. Majestica. Lanka Tiles. Fine living redefined.
Coloma, beautiful outside and inside.
Very good afternoon and welcome back to the Big Club grounds at St. Thomas's College, Mount Lavinia for this Dialog Schools Rugby League 2023 game between St. Thomas's and Kingswood. The visitors have just gone in, the hosts are just trooping into the dressing room and they'll be out with a bang, I'm sure, in the next couple of minutes to make sure that this game kicks off on time and is a cracker for us to watch. I think Kingswood will not die wandering here, Sudarshana. They're desperate for a win. They're travelling. They're probably not the favourites in this game, although I would be struggling to pick a favourite in this game. But they would be slight underdogs, and that may just be exactly what they want.
Interesting that you wouldn't pick a favourite in this game, Shanaka, given the fact that the Tomians, for me, are firm favourites, especially given the fact that they are playing in their own conditions. Kingswood will struggle in these conditions, but like you said, Kingswood will want to make an upset here at St. Thomas's ground. Very humid, like you said, you can tell from the fans that are out. Fans amongst the fans.
Absolutely. The royal fans, when I say royal, I mean the kind of fans the Queen uses or used to use. It's the King now. But yeah, I've been watching St. Thomas's Rugby, Sri Lanka Cricket, Arsenal Football Club and the All Blacks for too long to pick favourites, Sudarshana. So certainly not the kind of team performance last week from St. Thomas's that would say that they are overwhelming favourites for this game, certainly. But looking at Kingswood in the warm-ups, they looked certainly very much like they're here to take a scalp. Here's the Kingswood College lineup. Tarindu Ishara, Rasanjana, Madhubhashana, Hevage, De Silva, Amukotua, Fernando and Ainun Ishan is the man to look out for in the number 8 jersey. Devin Disanayaka, Gihan Ranavira, Anuda Sikurajapati, Dinet Bandara, Imanka Ishara, Oshada Veerasekara and Baudwin is the man to look out for. Also in the number 15 jersey. He'll be in the number 23 jersey, but he'll be the number 15 position. Bandara Disanayaka, Dilshan Silva, Piatissa Ekanayaka, Gamheva and Azmi will bring up the bench.
Just like you mentioned, the Ishan and also Imanka Ishara, this keeper playing in the centres will be meant to keep an eye out on as we take a look at the Tomian card.
Mohammad Hakim, Kavisha Lenagala, Jayat Pereira, Akesh Fernando, Shevin Udugama, Resha and Dwight, Shalin Manigasuriya and Shanal Fernando, the deputy skipper, will be in the number 8 jersey. Venika Vikramasuriya has had a good season so far, pairing off with Mahit Pereira. Deshwan Navaratna is in the number 11 jersey, a little bit of a switch there that coach Samni Nawaz has made. Pujana Kasturiarachi comes in at number 12 and a surprising move for Vian De Silva to the number 13 jersey. And Avron Noah comes back in to the back three, and Yahan Bulat Singhalage, the secretary of the side, will be in the last line of defence. Senaratna Pereira, Fernando, Martinstein, Kure drops to the bench, Jaya Singh, Rifaz reinstated to the bench, and Daniel is the last man on the replacements list for St. Thomas's. So a few changes for St. Thomas's, and that's Udugama brought back into the second row, and Deshwan Navaratna coming into number 11, and Pujana Kasturiarachi, who crossed over, well, didn't really cross over, but left Isipatana for St. Thomas's to do his London A-levels, did brilliantly in his O-levels as well, and that's why he moved. But it's very unlikely that you see an Isipatana player, junior Isipatana player, turning out for St. Thomas's.
Well, he's a swimmer and also loves music. I'm told, so I think the move wouldn't have affected him much. One of the most recent music composers of the new age, Charita Talage, also made the move from Misipatana to St. Thomas's before he became a well-known producer in Sri Lanka.
I didn't know he was a Thomian, Sudarshana. That's news to me. I missed his really brilliant, I've heard, production of Kuweni very recently. Did you see it?
I saw his first one. The second, unfortunately, had to miss it.
Duty called, did it?
Yeah, it
Well,
did.
if those of you listening on the Papare don't already know, Sudarshana has very recently become a father as of last week. So we're very happy for him and Moshi Ranasuriya, who is also part of our Papare family. And we wish Sudarshana, Moshi and little Josiah all the best as we look out at some of the visiting prefects, the Kingswood prefects in their nice little Crocodile Dundee hats, who are looking out over the big club pavilion. Some of the Thomians who've made their way down, Thomian schoolboys, will be very happy for a win today, of course. They haven't had a great start to the year, losing the Royal Thomian and losing last week as well, although they did beat Wesley fairly convincingly. But they've got some big games coming up against the likes of St. Joseph's and St. Anthony's. So they will have to make sure that they build game by game in this season.
It's a different experience, isn't it, to come back to big club grounds, Shanak. It's one of those places as a Thomian, for any Thomian, holds a very, very special place in the heart, right next to the quadrangle as well. So for the Thomians to be playing here, and also the extended Thomian family to be coming here, I'm sure they must be really relishing it.
Oh, absolutely, Sudarshana. It is one place that I'm sure the old boys would like to flock back to. My own personal memory of this ground is not great. Just lost half my face on the turf. Got clotheslined in a tackle and woke up with half my face skinned off. But soldier on is what we did back then, and that's something that I'm sure that this Thomian team will like to be doing as well. They've been accused, perhaps rightly, of being a little soft in the recent past and not putting games to bed, not really being able to go for those 50-50 balls.
Yes, I think the Thomians have, however, in the past couple of seasons, come leaps and bounds from where they were. Now you can see that structure taking in to the Thomians, Shanak, and something that the coaches always mention when they are part of the Thomian rugby team. It's a blessing and a curse that you have multidiscipline sportsmen taking part in the team. So it's quite difficult for you to try and get them in. As we see the visitors storm in to the big club grounds, Kingswood in red and the Thomians in blue, black and blue.
Vian De Silva leads out this blue, black and blue Thomian team. And Imanka Ishar leads out his Kingswoodians, who will huddle up on the halfway line. St. Thomas's seem to have dispensed with their traditional little huddle, but they will go into one of their own. They're doing it. Let's come back.
Well, it's shifted to their own half. Interestingly, as the visitors have taken up the prime real estate right in the middle of the field.
Well, always planning to be good hosts, St. Thomas's, allowing that. But big moments for Pujana Kasturiarachi, starting his first game this season. Kingswood, of course, very rich rugby history, produced so many Sri Lanka players, and of course the first school to ever start playing rugby in Sri Lanka. Our match officials today, Gihan Yatavara, Ravin Alexander and Siambala Petia, the second assistant referee. Hopefully this one will be a little bit more fluent and less stop-start like yesterday's affair between Isipatana and St. Joseph's. No real fluency in that game, although there was plenty of excitement. Hopefully we'll be able to see some skillful rugby today as Iman Kaishara looks to kick this one off. Into the sun it goes and taken nicely by Reshen Dwight. In fact, it's Udugama who takes that one. Nice short pass, but Isipatana were expecting it. Big shoulder in by Ishara, the number one prop forward. Shenal De Silva now on to Dwight. Reshen Dwight, a second generation player. His father Sean was a big part of St. Thomas's unbeaten teams of the early 90s. And that tackle was perhaps not a tip, but was certainly not one that had any arms used in it. So Gihan Yatavara has no hesitation in making sure that the penalty is given early on. And Yahan Bulatsingalage will step up. Should be a master of the wind conditions by now. Thumps it long and just manages to find touch. Doesn't kick it too high because the wind over the trees does create a few problems. Always quite unpredictable. So first line out for St. Thomas's. They will be hoping to recover from that horror show that was the Isipatana game again for their line out, but Dwight takes it cleanly in front. And the ball is left behind and Kingswood will be quite happy through Baudouin to gratefully accept this possession. Disanaika back into the pocket. Ranavira is a man who puts this one nice and deep. Watching it all the way was the Thomian winger. Was Navaratna, and a wonderful 50-22 from Yahan Bulatsingalage. That's what he's in the team for. That's why he's been shifted to fullback, just to take advantage of this new 50-22 rule. And what a brilliant kick that was, of course, raking that down diagonally. Kind of like a Kevin De Bruyne pass to his winger, wasn't it?
City references, Shanaka being a gunner's man.
Lenagala to throw in. Goes all the way to the back, and that was nicely won. And Dwight now has men on his inside, didn't manage to find them. But that's the correct call from referee Gihan Yatavara. He cannot jump into the tackle. You have to make sure, even as a ball carrier, that the safety of your opposing players is paramount. And a crucial position here. He had men on his inside. And that was unfortunate from St. Thomas's. Very bad discipline.
It's a great territorial advantage by Bulatsingalage, and the line out working fine as well. That would give a lot of confidence to the Thomian forwards, unlike the last time. Against Isipatana, they had a lot of problems where they had to keep the ball close to their set of forwards and not let Isipatana run. They couldn't do that because of the dysfunctional line out. Kingswood College, on the other hand, facing trouble and facing the ill effects of that wind you spoke about. It's always better to try and get to that number 2 earlier on when you come to a ground like this.
Well, you've played in that position, Sudarshana. So who makes that call? Is it the hooker who says, look, just give me a sighter? Or do you depend on the field position?
Ideally, there'll be a person who normally calls. Mostly it'll be a second row. But then as a hooker, if you want to try and get your confidence in, there's always one code that you will override that and you'll just go to number 2.
Shenal De Silva off the back. Shenal Fernando rather, off the back. With his brother in the crowd.
Get back.
Dunal Fernando, St. Thomas's colorsman, Air Force player.
Release.
Hakim scored last week. Will try to be doing that again. Vanikasuria to Mahit Pereira. Nice little loop around. Mahit spots the gap and he goes straight through. Mahit Pereira is going to go in under the post, and that's the first try for St. Thomas's. Heads up play for Mahit Pereira. It was a nice little loop around. It was a good give from his skipper Vian De Silva. And as the gap opened up, instead of sticking to the pattern, Mahit took the gap. And that's exactly what coach Shamli Nawaz would like to see.
Lovely bit of work by Pereira, which is why he's been moved in from that half-back position to first 5'8". He'll be looking to create space. He'll be looking to punch those holes that he can see. He's that kind of player. Incredible asset for St. Thomas's when it comes to all sports. Captain of the football team, plays in the rugby, plays fly-off in the rugby team. Potential captain of next year's cricket team as well. As Bulat Singh Lage adds on the extras. Bulat Singh Lage was playing in that number 10 jersey, but he's moved to fullback, and that is a very good decision as well. Like you mentioned earlier, Shanaka, his territorial kicking game can really take St. Thomas's forward.
Yeah, absolutely, Sudarshan. I think Mahit is a quicker player at number 10 as well. And his distribution perhaps a little quicker, a little faster, which is why Jahan's moving to fullback has really helped open this out and take advantage of the rules as well. Iman Kaishara will attempt to go a little bit deeper this time. And Vanikasuria is caught in a good tackle by Bandara. It's inside the 22, so they look to drive this one out. Good defense by Kingswood. Thomian forwards piling into that breakdown, giving Bulat Singh Lage enough space to thump this one downfield again. He finds some space in between. And again, we were talking about the turf, and that's the kind of problems it can create. The winger, I think it was Sikurajapati that time, who just slipped on that turf, wasn't able to feel the ball, and concedes a line out way downfield.
The turf coming into play early in this game. Like you said, when the legs are a little more tired, it'll be a little more difficult to try and maintain your balance here. Kingswood lost out their first line out in a similar position. Need to try and hit it. Does the right thing. Goes to number 2. Cardinal error from the jumper. They are not managing to secure it.
Looks like Dwight has learned a few things by watching the Isipatana defensive line out from last week. Chanal Fernando showing a little bit more leg drive, a little bit more industry this week. Vanikasuria. Nice ball out to Pujana Kasturiarachi. Takes the tackle. Makes the ball available. It's nice quick ball for Vanikasuria. Bulat Singh Lage up in the line. But they fly up in defense to Kingswood. Here's Chanal Fernando. Back to Udugama. Vanikasuria. Pereira. And the big prop in the line wasn't expected to be there. That was Pereira. And now Kingswood have stolen ball once again. They'll be happy to feed off these scraps. Straight back into the pocket for Ranavira. And Bulat Singh Lage has another opportunity, but he thinks of running this time. And again, terrible hands from St. Thomas's. That's really not excusable with absolutely no pressure.
Get back, high moves.
Vanikasuria. Bulat Singh Lage in the first receiver position. Nice hands from St. Thomas's that time. Now little space opening up. Navaratna
could have been
took a
slightly high, Shanaka.
Yeah, took a good hit, but the referee's showing the advantage. Chanal Fernando stopped in his tracks. And Mahit Pereira now puts a little bit of a kick in, but he'll know he has a penalty coming. And Baudwin. Veerasekara, in fact, feels the ball, but the penalty is coming, and the referee will speak to his assistant about the high tackle.
23, captain 23. Captain.
First time
23.
Baldwin comes into the game,
23.
doesn't find the correct spot. Timing wasn't
23.
correct, but to means the continuity was a little scrappy in the end. Shanaka, they were building up the phases. I think the passes didn't go too time.
Just a warning, nothing too malicious about it. We'll watch it again. Baldwin in the number 23 jersey for the red shirts just got wrong-footed. And he didn't lower his body height enough, and poor old Navaratna copped one around the face. But I'm sure he'll be fine. As Bulat Singhalage overcooks that one, so a cardinal error from Yahan, senior man. He can't be given too many more opportunities like that to kick a stray. In his own home ground, he's got to do a little bit better than that. And Kingswood will be quite happy to kick this one out. Well, they've gone behind the goal line, Sudarshana. Don't they have the option of kicking from the 22? Or was it touched? Would have thought they had the option of a 22 dropout, but I may be wrong. Has been known to happen. Pujana Kasturi Arachi. Bulat Singhalage now. Mahit Pereira, the try scorer, skipping through one gap. Needs his forwards now. Vaniga Surya. Shanal Fernando. Here's Hakim. Bundled back in a good tackle by Hewage. Vaniga Surya again. Mahit Pereira. Stepping infield is Vian De Silva, the skipper.
Release.
Vaniga Surya again to Hakim. But it's slow. Shanal Fernando does well to rip the ball off his front row ball carrier. And there was no tackler release there. Gihan Yatavara very quick on that one, but taken from the wrong mark.
This Gihan Yatavara has been so good so far. Shanake's positioning has been good, where he's been right at the action. Tomians would fancy their chances from scoring, of scoring from here on. Take a look at that. They've opted to go for a scrum rather than trying to use the advantage of going through the line out. They have a bigger set of forwards. One would think that would be their preferred option, with Bulat Singhalage like kicker who can get you territorial advantage.
The interesting call with the midfield scrum. I'm sure Coach Shamli Nawaz has rehearsed this as they feed in from the right side of the scrum. Nice little switch around. And Vaniga Surya that time, nice ball away to Navaratna as well. Bulat Singhalage with the ball over the top. And Vian De Silva will score.
Well, that was beautiful to watch. It was rehearsed all right, Shanaka. They knew exactly what they were doing. Could possibly be the NDB back try out the game, because that looked like a play that was taken out of a Crusaders playbook.
Yes, it really did work, didn't it? Bulat Singhalage did wonderfully to use his long arms and use that basketball pass to put the ball in. Here's Vaniga Surya, manages to find the little offload to Navaratna. And that's Bulat Singhalage. Lovely hands from the backs. And Vian De Silva uses his bulk to barge over at close quarters. So that will settle the skipper's nerves as well. He's broken the first try for the season. This is the first opportunity to go for posts that Bulat Singhalage has had. Gives himself very little margin for error in the angle he places the ball. And it's a good kick. The assistant referees put their flags up, and that will settle the nerves of the young fullback as well. Also part of the Tomian basketball team. So as you were saying, Sudarshana, lots of multifaceted sportsmen. But what that means is if one goes down, not just one team, about 3 teams suffer.
Well, not a lot of Tomians would be rooting for you there, Sanaka. Trying to pull out the hood. Whereas, well, how many times have we seen this? You're most vulnerable soon after you score. And Tomians doing the age-old mistake of relaxing in the kickoff, ensuing a score.
Yeah, and it was a try scorer that knocked on as well. So you've got to switch on, Sudarshan. You've not to know that you're only as good as your last play. So you've got to switch on and got to stay switched on. Good body positions from both teams. St. Thomas is putting the shove on. Quickly taken away by Disha Nayak to Ranavira.
Referee playing advantage, Chokins would call it, so they will have a free run at this one.
Ainun. New penalty, not rolling away is the call. So you can see how that mistake from the kickoff has led almost immediately to perhaps the 3 points. I would think that Imanka Ishara will be able to put this one over from here pretty easily.
Yeah, no hesitation from the skipper. He wanted to go at the post. Imanka Ishara. So that wasn't ideal for St. Thomas's. They broke their momentum. They were at a very good pace where they wanted to run the ball. They finished off a beautiful try, and to be down here in your own half, it's never a good feeling.
Well, in life and rugby, it's just about doing the simple things right over and over again, isn't it? And it's sometimes boring, but it's what works. Ishara has no problems putting that one over, much to the delight of the visiting Kingswood prefects who are seated just behind us and have been impeccably behaved so far. Imanka Ishara, the skipper of this Kingswood team, getting the first points on the board, the first of many he would hope, as would most of you watching from Kandy. Nice strike from Ishara. Had a bit of a doubt, but watched it all the way through. Bulat Singhal again now will thump this one high into the cloudy sky here at the big club grounds, and Kingswood will have a chance to run. Lovely dummy. Nice one from Baudwin, and this is coming in was Veerasekara. Nice angle from the winger to stay in play. Here's Kingswood now with their tails up. Just needed a little bit of confidence. Ishara looking for the 50-22, but just overcooks it with the win, and it will go out on the full, but it looks like there might be a penalty.
Yes, line being offside. Ishara would have been privy to that advantage coming his way, and cheekily hope for a 50-22. Now he'll get another opportunity to try and thump this one out. This one, he doesn't get the same distance or the connection. Bulat Singhal again kicks it down. Ainun is there to collect it. The number 8 for Kingswood.
Baudwin thumps this one up in the air. And it looks like there was a late charge on him. Try and see that again.
Yeah, you'd think that's going to be a card any day of the week. Dwight jumped on to a tackle and is late on the next one. And he will go out for 10 minutes. Won't be a happy man.
So important little passage of play there, because they'll get a chance to attack in the 22 when St. Thomas's lose their best defensive and offensive line-out jumper. So you can see, Sudarshana, the snowballing of the effects of that dropped kickoff. That's where it all started from. So it's led to 3 points and a yellow card. So that's why it's so important to do those small things well.
Absolutely, Shanika. And that was at a time when St. Thomas's were riding high on emotions, something that they had rehearsed and worked out perfectly well. But here they are, inside their red zone, defensive line out, ball gone missing. It's visited the Mount Lavinia Hotel through the sea, Shanika. Not easy, isn't it, completing a game here at Mount Lavinia? What are the chances of a ball being kicked out from here ends up in goal fort or goal itself?
Well, I'm sure somebody along the way is going to pick it up before it gets there. So Darshana, nice little throw into the front for Rasanjana, but he's bundled into touch. Maybe just not close enough. Good tackle made that time. Lenagala, nicely won by Vaniga Surya. And kick straight into the hands. Nice little space for Imanka Ishara. Tackle made in the end by De Silva. And now Kingswood with the tails up, and the ball goes to ground by Havegay. That's unfortunate because Kingswood looked for all money like a try was on.
I don't, my man. He expected the rest of the forwards to have the same skills that he does. His idea was correct. Ainun wanted to get that pass out quickly, but unfortunately the other locks did not have the same skills as him to try and hit onto that ball. Take a look at this lovely ball there, but unfortunately Havegay not managing to collect it.
St. Thomas is guilty of missing a few tackles there. And now the 7-man scrum means Ainun has to drop back.
Well, they wouldn't mind that because if St. Thomas is quick, they create another line of attack at the back with Ainun.
Fed into the second row by Vikramasuriya. Vian De Silva spinning and making a few post-contact meters. Nice counter rock by De Silva that time. And Kingswood's defense has been outstanding so far. Well read that time by Imanka Ishara once again. And they have to be forced to go back into the pocket for Bulat Singalage. And Ainun is unable to stop that ball before it rolls along the turf and into touch. But a good passage of play from Kingswood, really putting pressure on St. Thomas's.
Well, interesting game, isn't it? Both teams are not letting off despite the Thumians sitting 13 points ahead, 14 points rather. The yellow card hasn't hurt St. Thomas's as much so far, but Kingswood are slowly building that confidence in their line out with the miss of Dwight, and that's never a good thing to give an opposition team.
Big thump by Ranavira, and now Bulat Singalage will look to run. Nice tackle on him by Bandara, and they go to the air again. Taken by Ishara, does well to get back on his feet. Keep that ball in hand without fumbling it. But all the way back is Bulat Singalage once again. Will look to run this time. Hanging on to his bootlaces was Ishara, just does enough. And Vian De Silva now will stabilize. Tidy things up a bit. Big tackle on the even bigger Hakim. Really good defense by Kingswood. Outstanding teamwork there. A gang tackle as it's called. Lenagala takes it up. Vikramasuriya. Kasturi Arachi. Nice hands from St. Thomas's. Finding, look like Akesh Fernando. On the corner. He does well to keep the ball alive. The big second row used in the tram lines. Good defense once again by Kingswood, committing numbers to the breakdown. Vikramasuriya, Mahit Pereira, lovely ball over the top for Navaratna. Navaratna has some space opening up, spins out of one tackle, has to keep the ball in hand and does so. Good work from the Thomian support players. Shanal Fernando now. Kingswood still competing at the breakdown. Mahit Pereira. Here's Pereira. Vian De Silva dancing on that 22-meter line. Manages to get himself into a little bit of space. Ball goes once again to Akesh Fernando. Fernando needs to stay in play, but he's dragged out by some brave defense from Veerasekara.
Great hustle by Kingswood all over the park when it comes to the defensive effort. Shanaka, despite not having possession in that past couple of minutes, they managed to hold together, keep that defensive discipline together, and match up to big men. Take a look at this. Even when St. Thomas's managed to break that gain line, they still had their defensive pattern coming back in, not playing on in an offside position. That was very important for Kingswood College, and they've done very well in their defensive effort.
Really good discipline from them. And the line out for Kingswood. Now they'll go to the back. It's untidy ball, but they've done well. Taken up by the hooker Rasanjana. And going into the back for the skipper to take this one into touch. And Navaratna, unfortunately, sticks his hand out and knocks the ball on. It's just instinctive there. Very little you can do when the ball does that to you, a little off break.
Extremely unpredictable bounce of the rugby ball. If you let it bounce, it's advisable if you have time to try and wait for the second one, Shanaka. Then you might be able to try and get an idea of where it's traveling.
They're only wingers, Sudarshan. Disanaika to feed the 7-man scrum with Dwight still in the sin bin. There's a little knock on there at the back, and Disanaika, there was good pressure put on by the Thomian scrum. Some big boys in this Thomian tight 5. The number 4 we saw earlier in the tram lines, Akesh Fernando, son of Aroshana Fernando, who captained Anand Rugby. One of the most terrifying sights for me when I was playing under 13. So Aroshana Fernando, he was the same size as he was when he was under 19, about 6 foot. And he's also a second generation player in that his mother's brothers played with distinction for St. Thomas's. Tanushka's brothers, Danya, and another knock-on. So trading knock-ons, Vikramasuriya and Disanaika. Danya Gunawardena played in that title-winning team of 2000. Akesh's uncle and his other uncle, Rajiv, played for the first 11 as well. So comes from good stock. But it's back for Vikramasuriya. That's the replay. And now Kingswood have it. Nice ball across the face of the defense. Kasturi Arachi allows Imanka Ishara to free his hands. Ainun dragged down by his opposite number. Disanaika, quick ball for him. Here it is again for the big prop forward, Ishara. Ishara bumps off his opposite number. And now Kingswood with some long passing. This is where they're dangerous. Lovely ball to Ainun. Ainun will come in and pass. Yes, he does. That was Bandara who goes close to the 5-meter line. And the penalty is coming, but the penalty is unfortunately going in the opposite way.
It was the skipper who lost his footing there, Shanaka, Imanka Ishara, because and correctly blown as well, because Yahan Bulat Singhala gave us through the ruck. He came through the ruck in the ideal gate, so you had to blow it. Kudos to the referee, but Imanka Ishara will consider himself very, very unlucky.
Well, that was Kingswood who looked for all money like they would score. Nice work from Ainon. I thought he'd pass earlier, but in fact he drew 3 men and passed. But unfortunately for him, his centre Bandara just didn't have enough power to go over the line.
I think Bandara didn't get his timing right for that offload. Just like you did, he would have thought that Ainun would have passed a wee bit earlier. And then if Bandara could have given it back into Ainun, Ainun could have gone under the post. But lovely bit of work. That number 8 joining the deputy skipper, joining with the skipper just outside. Take a look at that. We thought that he would have passed there, but then delayed it slightly. And here's why. When Bulat Singalage was coming through, Imanka Ishara lost his footing there.
Nice win at the front by Reshan Dwight, who's back after his 10-minute break. Again, another penalty. Holding on is the call, taken quickly by De Silva. Still going, De Silva, dragged down by the little Vikramasuriya. Disanayaka now with quick ball, but it's not a good ball. Not 10 meters is the call from referee Atavara, and this might be another card for St. Thomas's if he can get a number.
Oh well, number 6. That's going to be Dwight. This is going to be the second yellow. If it's going to be a yellow, that's going to be a problem for St. Thomas's College. 2 yellows will be a red, and you'll be out for the rest of the game. Referee Atavara just wants to make sure, just wants to reconfirm that it was number 6, Dwight, that was the culprit. Second yellow and a red. St. Thomas's will be reduced to 14 men for the rest of this game.
Well, that changes the game, doesn't it? It changes everything. That 14-3 scoreline might as well read 4-3, because that's a key man who goes off for the full game. Just bad discipline, a good decision by De Silva. The second rower who took that tap quickly. Dwight reacted far too quickly for the referee's liking. Didn't retire the 10 meters. And he's dejected as he walks back. Here's Ainun in the line. Ball left behind. Good ball from Disanayaka, looking for Imanka Ishara. Ishara dragged down in the end by Bulat Singalage, who's been forced to make a few tackles at fullback. Good thump up by Hevage. Hevage is held up. The ball is still available for Kingswood. Remember, they've got an extra man in the line. Ainun with the big dummy. Holding him up is Hakim. Has the referee called them all? No, he hasn't, but it doesn't matter because he's over. Ishara is the man who scores. He's been doing a lot of good work for this Kingswood team. And he touches down under the posts.
Well, we have some luck landing right in front of the guest team, as Ishara knew exactly where the ball was. Lovely bit of work by Ainun. Has been one of those men who has really changed it up for Kingswood College, playing with conviction. As Ishara adds in the extras, 10 points to 14. St. Thomas's down to 14 men. This one is going to be very, very interesting.
Interesting is one word. Sudarshana, this is going to be hectic, I can tell you that much. 14 points to 10. We're close to half time, and St. Thomas's have not just lost a player, they've lost their key line-out jumper, one of their key defenders, and the key defensive line-out player as well. So this is going to be a long 40 minutes for this Tomian side. And they can't afford to sit on their laurels either. They've got only a 4-point lead, which means that they have to score. They have to score more and more. They leave themselves vulnerable. So this is going to be a very important test of mental aptitude for this Tomian team. They can't allow their heads to drop as Fernando takes that kickoff up nicely. But not releasing is the call.
Shunal Fernando will have to take the lead from here on as one of those leading characters in the forward. Shanaka, when you're down to 7 men, you need to try and spur up your team to try and play for that extra man, for that 1 man extra. We've seen teams really turn things around despite being 1 man down. And if the Tomians can really call on the Tomian grit, here they will be able to try and show it and win this game.
Well, it would be nice if they didn't leave it to grit, Sudarshana, and they relied on skill. I think there's far too much talk of grit, and grit is something you've got to show when you're staring down the barrel, but the Tomians should probably avoid themselves getting into those positions. And they could do that by trying to win a line out, but you see how that Dwight's exit has affected them already. Disanayaka to Imanka Ishara, who has taken on the kicking duties also from Ranavira and manages to clear. So the first one was an overcooked kick into the corner, which Bulat Singalage was responsible for, but that time Lenagala just couldn't connect with any of his jumpers. Nobody lifting at the back. As Vaniga Surya tried to go up. St. Thomas's again with that Achilles heel line out. Have Hakim in the front, Pereira at the back. Looks like Vaniga Surya in the middle. Leon says the referee, and good ball won by Kingswood, but they did knock it on the floor. There's good work by Disanayaka, but just couldn't control the ball as he came through. And the scrum is what St. Thomas's will be much happier with. Of course, they don't have a number 8 now because you've got to pack down on the flanks with Dwight gone for the game.
Coaching staff of the Tomians at the back still calm. Quickly taken by the Tomian halfback.
Pereira to Pujana Kasturiarachi, puts the fend on, stepping through a couple of tackles, but is isolated and is holding on. Hasn't had the best game so far. Kasturiarachi missed a couple of front-on tackles and needs to link up a little bit better. As Imanka Ishara will look to try and play this half out well in the Tomian territory. Nicely taken that time by St. Thomas's, and Vikramasuriya will give it off to his big forward runner Lenagala. Another penalty. So Kingswood not doing themselves any favours.
Yeah, just as you say, they're throwing the ball back, which rules referee Attabara to advance the proceedings, and correctly so. St. Thomas's will be very happy to take things slowly, wanting to end this half. 35 minutes on our clock, but there might be a couple more minutes remaining on the referee's clock.
Well, they would give their kingdom for a score. Not the greatest touch finder from Bulat Singalage, who's been a little erratic, you have to say. Some big lads in this Tomian line out, so big that they can't be lifted. Lenagala goes to the back, Vaniga Surya, and it's through the hands. Well regathered that time by Kingswood. Disanayaka now across the face of the post. Lovely little swerve. Lovely swerve and continuing run from Fernando. Fernando keeping on going. Eventually dragged down by the fullback. Beautiful swerving run. Unfortunately for Kingswood, they leave the ball behind. Nice bit of handling. Mahit Pereira will look to put the kick in, not take too many risks. Baudwin. Dragged to the floor by Vian De Silva. Disanaika will look to settle things down. And Imanka Ishara will probably hope to get this one out. 2 knock-ons, one from Navaratna, one from the oncoming player. And Comedy of Errors finishes off that half. And since that red card, both teams have let the blood rush to their head. And everybody's looking to finish the game off in the next 5 minutes, not realizing that there's a whole full half of rugby to go. So 2 very different huddles it's going to be when we go into these halftime conversations with the coaches, Sudarshana.
Yes, I think especially the Kingswoodians will want to try and calm themselves down if they can try and get back to the basics of what got them those 10 points. Chanaka, it's going to be a very, very easy victory for them in this second half. They have the numerical advantage. They have their players running those lines and patterns they want them to run. Tomians, on the other hand, they will have to put up a top defensive effort. Halftime confirmation, 14 points to 10 St. Thomas's, reduced to 14 men, just as their score suggests. Kingswood looking to claw back into this game, and they have a brilliant platform to do so.
Got the
Keel's Crest, Naimeris, the bite that bites back. I'm sure if you are watching these games at home, you'll want to have a nice bite alongside you. Keel's Crest, Naimeris, the bite that bites back. And the highlights of the first half, it was a very interesting half.
Here's the first kickoff, and Mahit Pereira bursting through from the first line out, and Bulat Singalage that under the post conversion, and a nice work blindside move. Bulat Singalage again with that nice little basketball pass to his skipper, and also managed to put the conversion over. And in reply, Imanka Ishara, the Kingswood skipper, got the first points on the board, and a lovely little bit of tight play from Tarindu Ishara, seeing the first try for Kingswood just before halftime. And then, of course, the crucial moment, a defining moment perhaps in this game, where Reshane Dwight was red carded for his second yellow card. We'll be back after the break.
Enjoy the infinite possibilities of the freedom of space, inspired by the beauty of our land. Sri Lanka's finest finished, largest sized porcelain tile collection. Majestica. Lanka Tiles. Fine living redefined.
Hey, have you heard about Z?
ZZ. We KYC.
Easy.
Mobile banking. Crazy.
Education loans and salary advances. Amazing.
Introducing the Digital Youth Account. NDBZ. NDBZ from NDB Bank. The future is banking on us.
නව වැඩි දියුණු කළ Dandex Active Climbasol පළමු සේදීමෙන්ම ඉස්සොරි ඉවත් කරයි. හැමදාම Dandex නම්
හැමදාම no problem.
Dandex හිස නිදහසේ ඉදිරියට.
Aloe vera and mint for freshness. Chamomile for sensitive skin. Lemon and lime for an energetic day. Big shaving foam. A change you must experience.
Manicure hot and spicy, trending fashion aram navy. Rasa baby, papare beat ke Saturday ko tumi pandavi. Nata baby, mom, Saturday kapuna, rasa diva pairuna. Saradavi adanari ko tumi pantama, fun update bena, hot cup pe kakmana. Saradavi adanari ko tumi pantama, prima ko tumi pantamai.
ඕනම දෙයක් කරන්න විදියක් තියෙනවා. ඒ තමයි තමන්ගේ විදිය. ජීවිතය අත්විඳින්න ආත්ම විශ්වාසයෙන් නැගී සිටින්න. ගෝල්ඩ් ඔපම වෙන්න.
With one more bite of Revelo for sunshine.
හැමදාම ඩැන්ඩෙක්ස් නම්
හැමදාම no problem.
ඩැන්ඩෙක්ස් හිස නිදහසේ ඉදිරියට.
Coloma, beautiful outside and inside.
නැවුම් බව රැකදෙන කුමාරිකා මිට් සංවීධී සමකට කැම ඔයිල් බික් ෂේවිං ෆෝම් අත්විදිය හැකි වෙනසකට.
Hey, have you heard about Z?
We KYC.
Easy.
Mobile banking. Crazy.
Education loans and salary advances. Amazing.
Introducing the Digital Youth Account. NDBZ. NDBZ from NDB Bank. The future is banking on us.
ඕනම දෙයක් කරන්න විදියක් තියෙනවා. ඒ තමයි තමන්ගේ විදිය. ජීවිතය අත්විඳින්න ආත්ම විශ්වාසයෙන් නැගී සිටින්න. ගෝල්ඩ් ඔපම වෙන්න.
Manicure hot and spicy, cheering skirt thicker than navy. Saturday baby, kappe ate, match එක fun කරලා මලාවි. Saturday baby, හිත තාල නැත වෙනා, fun නිනිම වින්නුනා. Saradavi අතනාරි කොතුමි පන්දමා, fun papare play වෙනා, set එක connect වුණා. Saradavi අතනාරි කොතුමි පන්දමා, prima කොතුමි පන්දමයි. Revelo for love.
ඕනම දෙයක් කරන්න විදියක් තියෙනවා. ඒ තමයි තමන්ගේ විදිය. ජීවිතය අත්විඳින්න ආත්ම විශ්වාසයෙන් නැගී සිටින්න. ගෝල්ඩ් ඔපම වෙන්න.
Cheese with the yalu set එක smiley බදනවා. ඕන වෙලාවක snack එක දැක්කම හිත fix වෙනවා. සරද කැමති අය දවස පුරාවට සැරයිල්ලනවා. Calypso mix එක ඕන වෙලාවක නැගලම යනවා. Boring life එක break up කරගෙන salsa නටනවා. ලුණු රටාවට onion kick එක full happening වෙනවා. අච්චි
රටටම රස බෙදෙන මංජි රස බලකාය දැන් අලුත් වෙලා.
Aloe vera and mint for freshness. Chamomile for sensitive skin. Lemon and lime for an energetic day. Big shaving foam. A change you must experience.
හැමදාම ඩැන්ඩෙක්ස් නම්
හැමදාම no problem.
ඩැන්ඩෙක්ස් හිස නිදහසේ ඉදිරියට.
Coloma, beautiful outside and inside.
Cheese with the yalu set එක smiley බදනවා. ඕන වෙලාවක snack එක දැක්කම හිත fix වෙනවා. සරද කැමති අය දවස පුරාවට සැරයිල්ලනවා. Calypso mix එක ඕන වෙලාවක නැගලම යනවා. Boring life එක break up කරගෙන salsa නටනවා. ලුණු රටාවට onion kick එක full happening වෙනවා. අච්චි
රටටම රස බෙදෙන මංජි රස බලකාය දැන් අලුත් වෙලා.
නව වැඩි දියුණු කළ ඩැන්ඩෙක්ස් ඇක්ටිව් ක්ලිම්බසෝල් පළමු සේදීමෙන්ම ඉස්සොරි ඉවත් කරයි. හැමදාම ඩැන්ඩෙක්ස් නම්
හැමදාම no problem.
ඩැන්ඩෙක්ස් හිස නිදහසේ ඉදිරියට.
Welcome back to second half action live from the big club grounds at St. Thomas's, where Kingswood had their tails up at half time and will look to try and overpower A 14-man St. Thomas's dealt a crucial blow just before half-time with the sin binning and subsequent red carding of Reshan Dwight for 2 yellow cards, and Bulat Singalage starts with a mistake.
Not the ideal start for the Tomians, who are down a man, like Shanika mentioned, for the rest of this game. Play brought into their own half. Kingswoodians will be looking to get that first score. Try and open the floodgates if they can get their confidence right. And going to the touchline will be their preferred option, with Reshan Dwight being the preferred jumper for St. Thomas's, both defensively and in attack. They would have had to try and change their plans now. Kingswoodians need to be privy. They can't go in for an 8-man line out without informing the oppositions.
It goes straight, but not to the intended man.
Lost forward by the Kingswood jumper, who got his hand to that. That's crucial. That's not excusable by the Kingswood jumping unit. Need to make sure that you secure those balls. You don't have pressure. You don't have pressure of the most difficult jumper to try and manage with on the other side of your line out.
2 crucial mistakes at the start of the game. Not really sure what Disanaika has so much to say to Vikramasuriya and Fernando. His players having lots of conversations. Vikramasuriya manages to get the ball away before he is snaffled by Disanaika. Nice inside ball from Bulat Singalage. Vikramasuriya again to the big forward runners. Looks like St. Thomas's have made a replacement with Fernando coming in. Number 18, Mahit Pereira, taken by Rasanjana. Still going though. Eventually dragged down by the dangerous flanker Fernando. And that seems to be a high tackle again by this defensive unit from Kingswood, which has been very good despite just a few of those errors. Another big tip tackle, but brought down safely. Again, Kasturi Arachi not able to link up that play. And that tip tackle means that Rasanjana will go to the bin, which creates a problem now for Kingswood, who will need to get a front row on. And also will lose their line-out thrower. So St. Thomas is losing their jumper and Kingswood losing their thrower. So even Stevens for the moment.
Well, luckily for Kingswood, it's Ishara who takes on a lot of the throwing duties. So they will not be too concerned of that. But yeah, sudden shift of momentum, like you said. Now the Tomians will believe they've got a 1-point advantage. Now they will want to make sure that they try and get finish this one. Numbers are equal now, 14 all on both sides.
So it will be a 7-man scrum. Unfortunate knock-on from the Kingswood player as he tried to field the ball at bootlace height. Ainun and Shanal Fernando. Again, having one of those conversations. How is the weather up in Kandy, mate? Is it as hot as it is here? Vikramasuriya feeding from the right side of the scrum again. Nice channeled ball. Mahit Pereira takes it to the line. Coming in is big Akash Fernando. Shanal Fernando with a nice inside ball. Hakim taken to ground. They're still going blindside. This is good work from Udugama, who has to either get to ground or give the ball away. This is really good work from Kingswood's defensive team. It looks like it was a knock forward. It was Lenagala. And really good defensive effort once again from Kingswood. You have to say, Sudarshana, that Kingswood's defense has kept them in the game.
Oh, absolutely. Take a look at that. Everybody contributing, making sure that he's held up. All they had to do was try and pounce on that ball. But Takesh Fernando, with his long limbs, trying to offload it, lost it forward. That would have given Kingswood some confidence. The defensive effort, like you said, when you are good in defense, you are going to frustrate your opposition, and that confidence that gives you can really spur teams on.
You have to ask, when you look back at that replay, what the other Thomian forwards, there were 3 of them around, whether they'd bought tickets to the game or what, because they were looking on and not really helping their mate, who was in quite obvious distress. So Kingswood live to breathe again.
Well, if you're talking about those kind of tickets, Shanika, there'll be a lot of people who would like to pay a lot of money to be in that position to watch the game so close by with wearing Thomian colours as Kingswood try to get out of jail. Great collection by Bulat Singalage.
Ranavira with a nice clearing kick, and Bulat Singalage just finding a little bit of grass and bounces it into touch. He will be happy with that. It was flirting with the touchline.
Bulat Singalage has been made to do a lot of work this game, Shanika, with his kicking duties, and also as the last man defender has to do a lot of tackling. Kingswoodians will want to try and get out of jail as soon as possible, because this is not an area of the field that they languish in. They are a team who like to run the ball. Again, going to that number 4. Why? I don't know. Shanika, why do you take a couple of steps back in a line out when you don't have a jumper in front of you? Just jump where you are and make it a little easier for the man throwing the ball in, especially in conditions like this where the wind conditions are very unpredictable.
Especially since St. Thomas's have lost their best defensive line-out jumper as well. You've got your options. You just have to throw to where Vanigasuriya isn't. And it's a pretty easy ball. Unfortunately, the 7-man scrum means that there's no possibility for a number 8 break on either side here. It's channeled back nicely by the second rowers. Vian De Silva running behind Kasturi Arachi. No real communication between the backline players for the Thomians there. Chanel De Silva to Pereira. Akesh Fernando getting in there, but again, it really needs to give some help there to. So the knee was on the floor, says the referee, which is why there was no release, as Chanel Fernando takes this one quickly. Needs to get some help from his friends. Now it's taken inside line by Mahit Pereira. Vikramasuriya offloads to the big truck runners. And another penalty coming. The ruck was formed, says the referee, and St. Thomas's will do well to take a scrum here. It looked like it was Fernando who smashed that ball in.
Oh, these two halfbacks, I think they know it, they know each other from younger days, Shanika. Halfback for St. Thomas's, Vikramasuriya, filling in Pereira shoes fairly well, I'd say. Very young lad, can play a couple more years for St. Thomas's.
Yes, he's got plenty of time on the clock. Vikramasuriya has a couple more years as St. Thomas's opt to take that scrum.
Interestingly, both captains are wearing number 13s outside centres. They have to try and deliver a message to the set of forwards. Both of them, same reaction, same attitude, walking towards their forwards.
Boys, absolutely. It's like, come on, guys. Trying to win a game here. Can you all please shut up and just play? And that's exactly what referee Yada would have said. It's just too much chatter in the ear. Looks like it's Aaron Smith plays George Gregan kind of chatter. Nice channeling from straight through the gap goes Mahit Pereira. And does it once again. The Thomian triple colorsman looks to the heavens. And just before the heavens open, I think St. Thomas's will want to try and get a bonus point.
It's 3 tries for the Thomians as Mahit Pereira touches down for his second of the game. Little show and go. For a moment, you were wondering whether Vikram Surya will be the man Mahit Pereira will find it most difficult to get across from. Fairly regulation kick for Bulat Singalage. Shouldn't have any problem in putting this one through. Taking the score to 21 points for St. Thomas's College. Still not over for Kingswood College if they can try and regroup and make sure that they put pressure on the Thomians. They'll be able to try and salvage something from this game, Shanaka.
Nowhere near over, Sudarshana. As we talked about, in these humid conditions now with the sun going behind the clouds and the wind bringing these darker clouds in, might be just the kind of conditions that Kingswood are used to and might give them just a little bit more of sting in the tail. Remember that Rasanjana is still to come back from his time in the sin bin. This time it will be Ranavira to kick off. Bulat Singalage from inside his 22 has plenty of time to find Ainoon.
A little bit of a brain freeze from Ainoon. It was he should have just let the ball go out. Wanted to try and speed things up, but has conceded possession.
That was not great work from Ainoon. They haven't been able to bring him into the game as much as they would like, as Akesh Fernando goes off after a good shift. He's replaced. I'll tell you in a moment who he's replaced by Sena Ratna, by the looks of it. And a free kick for not taking it in time. And in fact, it's not telling the correct numbers to the referee. So again, a silly mistake by St. Thomas's, offering Ainoon a chance to redeem himself. Straight through the middle goes Hevage. Galloping run by the second row forward. Now straight through goes Imanka Ishara. Only Bulat Singalage to beat and lands it off to Baudouin, and he goes under the post. Something from nothing. An absolutely brilliant try from Kingswood. Brilliant play from Imanka Ishara and Baudouin, who was hanging up on his inside, but take your hat off the Kingswood skipper. What a wonderful run from him. Absolutely scorching work. And St. Thomas's with an...
Shanaka, something very, very interesting happened in the run-up to that. This move started off with a free kick. As we are again reminding you that we are in front of jubilant Kingswoodians who behave themselves pretty well, Shanaka. And they started off with a free kick which stemmed from a line out where the correct number was not told to the referee.
Here's a run from Hevage. That was a brilliant bit of work because he took 5 defenders in with him. It was quick ball for Disanaika. Lovely handoff. And this is Baudouin. Imanka Ishara rather. Didn't give that one, gave that one unselfishly. And Baudouin went in under the post. So again, a few missed tackles from St. Thomas's. Not something that they will make happy watching on the replay. Good work that time from Madhubhashana. Here's Veerasekara. Again, discipline letting Kingswood down, unfortunately.
21-17, Kingswood conceding a penalty. But coming back to the try that was scored, St. Thomas's called the line out while Rakesh Fernando were still in the field. A second row, number 4 coming in. And then the substitution was made with Senaratna coming in, who was playing as the hooker Shanaka. Although St. Thomas's have called the numbers, they've lost a man who would have normally joined the line, which reduces their number to 7, whereas Kingswood had 8 men because they had already called 8, which is the short arm penalty which was awarded to Kingswood. So a little bit of unfortunate substitution coming in for St. Thomas's there, but interesting bit of 20 minutes rather to go in this second half.
Well, it just means that the pack leader, Shanal Fernando, needs to have his wits about him. He knows his teammates, he knows who does what. And that's a pre-lift in the line out. Should be a free kick again for St. Thomas's. Against St. Thomas's rather. But the referee looks like he had not told them to play on. So St. Thomas's, luckily for them, get another bite at the cherry. Here's the first time they've managed to set up a driving maul. Senaratna at the back. Still going. Now it's available for the replacement. That's L.S. Pereira. Mahit Pereira with the little chip kick through. It's a good one as well if the bounce is kind, but it's not. Nicely done by Bandara to recover that ball. And referee very quick on the whistle that time, and it looks like Bandara might have taken a little bit of a knock to the neck. There might
Spots
be
the bleeding. Seems like he's bleeding.
Hopefully it's not serious. Might be just a stray boot that... Bandara will have to go off to get that stitched up. And it will be Kingswood ball in the scrum. Blood bin, they will have a replacement coming on. You can see that's where he caught the boot. Might be De Silva coming through. Completely unintentional, just one of those rugby injuries. Kingswood bringing in a replacement, Gumhaver, who comes in place of Bandara, who has been quite excellent so far in this game. They'll want him back as soon as possible. Under pressure scrum, Disanayaka has to find Imanka Ishara. Navaratna should probably have been covering the touchline there, knowing that Ishara had to clear from under the sticks. So St. Thomas's will have another opportunity if they can not make a hash of this line out.
Line out in favor of Kingswood or line out in favor of... yes, line out in favor of Kingswood. Atomian had touched the ball.
It looks like the referee and the assistant have now agreed that the ball was touched. This time it was won by Kingswood, even though it was overthrown. So both teams have suffered a little bit at line-out time. Navaratna lets it bounce. Should probably have left it for Bulat Singhal again. Now Navaratna has a bit of space. And Bulat Singhal again has to do a bit of rucking. Not something that fullbacks love doing. And Shanal Fernando eventually gets back to help out his back three. Mahit Pereira now gives it to the big man, Pereira. Yes, LS Pereira. Vikramasuriya. Nice raking kick by Bulat Singhal again. Doesn't allow Ainun to get up ahead of steam, but now Ainun gives it to Gamhever. Gamhever fresh off the bench. Ball lost, but the referee says that there was it was holding on. Might have played some advantage, I thought.
Tobians in no hurry to make the decision on what to do, and then they eventually decide that they want to go to the touchline, despite the miss of Dwight.
Looks like the Thomians are coming in for a substitution. Ball was knocked forward, so St. Thomas's will keep playing. No release is the call again. Kingswood defense flying up. Ainun does some great work, but unfortunately for him, there was an infringement before that.
Goal 3-in-1. The ideal accompaniment for any of these young players who are battling it out, who are making sure that they give it their all. It can be the ideal companion for in the shower, easily carrying their bags as well.
St. Thomas is making a substitution, and I think one that might have been made a few minutes earlier. Ahmed Rifaz coming in for Pujana Kasturiarachi. And also much to the relief of Kingswood, Bandara has had his head bandaged and comes back. So it will be St. Thomas's line-out ball. Both line-outs have not really been things of beauty to behold, as Vaninga Surya again throws it down to the feet of Shanal Fernando, who puts his arms up in apology. The Kingswood crowd getting under the skins there of the Thomians. And again another golden opportunity to drive towards the line is literally kicked away. Kingswood now will be desperate to get into the opposite half.
What a game this has turned out to be. Thomians who looked like they were going to go all the way easy, making it difficult for themselves. Kingswood fighting. Ishara with the boot yet again finds Bulat Singhal again.
Bulat Singhal again will now look for a willing runner, but again superb defense by Kingswood. Well done by Azmi, but a high tackle, says the referee. I thought that was unlucky for Azmi and very lucky for St. Thomas's.
Oh, silly, isn't it?
Yeah, it was absolute right call by Gihan Yatawara. But just the ball protection, ball security has been pretty ordinary. And that's another very ordinary kick by Bulat Singhal again. taken by Senaratne. Senaratne looking for some defenders. Nice tackle by Hevage, who has been outstanding for Kingswood in the number 4 jersey. Another high tackle. Straight through goes the big runner for for St. Thomas's. Vikramasuriya looks about passing, but nobody really wanted it outside him. And another penalty for a high tackle. Kingswood might get a word spoken to them about these high tackles. There's been about 3 in the game so far, Sudarshana.
And also could be a card coming out as well, is because so far it's been back-to-back high tackles, but no severity there. Kingswood has gotten that timing in a fix, otherwise, so they have been okay. Now, very interesting call to make here. 21 points to 17. Wouldn't it be ideal if you try and get the 3 points, Shanaka?
Well, that gives you 24-17, still within that 7-point margin. I think Coach Shamli Nawaz is going for broke, needs the bonus point out of this game. And he's got confidence in his team. It's not a bad thing. I think it's a positive move from St. Thomas's. Goes behind Vian De Silva. Bulat Singh Alage. Now Vikramasuriya again to Senaratne. Vikramasuriya with a couple of steps and a pass. Udugama. Vikramasuriya now. Again to L.S. Pereira. L.S. Pereira going towards the line. Goes up to the 5-meter mark. Leaves it behind. Here's Senaratne again. Here's the big forward runners making their presence felt. Imanka Ishara got out of the way just in time. Senaratne. Again from Bulat Singh Alage to Vian De Silva. Vian De Silva dancing. Needs to find an offload. Can't find it. Will he go himself? 5 meters or 3 meters from the line, St. Thomas's. Desperate to get the score on the board. They've got to keep it in hand and make sure they don't drop the ball on with the try line at their mercy. Kingswood have been excellent in defense so far. This is the biggest test for them. Still within 1 score, the Kingswood lads, but the penalty is coming. Senaratne picks and goes quickly. Nice work, nice defense by Ainun. Referee Atavare in good position and just over the line goes St. Thomas's. Tell you who it was in the moment. Looked like it might be L.S. Pereira. In fact, it was Udugama who scored. And St. Thomas's have the bonus points, so that big risky decision at the scrum comes to fruition. Senaratne did as he did against Wesley, taking it quickly and going towards the line. Needs to adjust his body position a bit if he's going to make a habit of that. There they are latching on and over the line. It looked like it was L.S. Pereira. In fact, Udugama was the latcher. And this for an important 2-pointer.
26 points with the conversion to come. And no problem with that as well. 28-17, 9-point cushion. Despite being a man down, Tomians will be very happy that they have that 9-point cushion.
Well, at about the 25 or 23-minute mark when that red card came, things could have gone horribly wrong. But Kingswood, at some point, didn't capitalize in those few minutes before halftime. They did score a try, but after that, they let everything get to their heads and tried to play St. Thomas's in that 7th style rugby. Mohammad Azmi is on the park now and will take this kick-off. Senaratne, who was instrumental in that try at the other end of the field. Bulat Singh Alage That languid kicking style. Taken quickly by... Knocked forward that time by Vian De Silva. But it was really good work by Kure, who's come off the bench, started last week. And it was a good chase by the young winger. Could have set it up nicely for his skipper. Looked like just a bit too much hand sanitizer on his hands. Ball went loose. Ball goes behind Ainun, who hasn't really been in the game. He's a lovely distributor. Imanka Ishara now. Good tackle on him by Noah. Here's Azmi. Azmi stepping in field. Just couldn't find Ainun on the inside. Imanka Ishara, who has been in the thick of everything for his Kingswood team. Azmi runs behind one of his own players, gets away with it. This was Fernando. The Kingswood third row have been excellent today. Here's Bandara back with that headband. He was in touch.
Ainun was the peacemaker all this time, but seems to have lost his cool.
Well, that more than one score gap has really lit a fire under Kingswood's chair. They know that they need to come into this game desperately. Good to see Shanal Fernando and Imran Ainun just giving each other a low five there. Say, no hard feelings, mate. Senaratne having plenty to say to the assistant referee. And nice jump at the front. Well stolen by Kingswood. Here they are through Ainun. Fernando. Disanayaka now looking for Azmi. Bandara. Here's Ishara stepping in field. Tackled, taken quickly. Azmi managed to recover that ball quickly. And here's Ainun, lovely ball to Hebage. Hebage with plenty of power. Unfortunately for Hebage, he loses the ball. Looks like might be another not 10. There's no amount of praying hands that's going to save Shanal Fernando there. He's been in the referee's ear all the way through this game. And referee Atawara finally in the dying moments of this game has had enough. And St. Thomas's will be with 13 men against Kingswood, who are still in this game, Sudarshana.
Yes, still in this game. Very, very interesting one. This Kingswood College, if they can try and attack that gap between Mahit Pereira and Vian De Silva, because we know they tried using Pujana in the number 12 jersey. Since he's gone back, the replacement that has coming, his positioning hasn't been ideal, Shanika. There is a massive gap that's opening up between 12 and 13. And if Imanka Ishara, the Kingswood danger man, can try and exploit it, It's going to be an interesting one.
Well, Sudarshana spotted that gap from the big club pavilion. Has Ainun seen it? Vian De Silva misses the tackle, and unfortunately, it doesn't go to hand. Lovely hands there from Ahmed Rifaz, but not good hands from Bulat Singalage, who throws it around like a hot potato. St. Thomas is just committing suicide in their own 22. Disanaika, and again, looked like there was a trip there, but lucky to get away with it. The Thomian players desperate to find out how much more time left on the clock.
I think it's just 5 minutes left in the clock, Shanaka. So plenty time for Kingswood to come back in this game. But the Thomians will be hoping that they can try and take away those important seconds until the long whistle here at Mount Lavinia. That's poor by Kingswood College. The runner, he needed to be with his hands up. He needed to anticipate that ball.
Here again, lucky to get away with one there. It's not a stable scrum. The referee's got to call this back up again. Two new front rowers for Kingswood. You have Dilshan on the tight head side. Doesn't look very much like a prop.
Shanaka, with the game still in the balance, I think we need to try and decide on who the NDB player of the match is going to be. But that's going to be a very difficult one, especially given the fact that the game is still in the balance. Kingswood taking it quickly, going on the shorter side.
Stepping in field, beautifully done. Vian De Silva missing another tackle. Here it is through Fernando. Numbers on the outside, and his ball is dropped. Holding on, Imanka Ishara has had such a good game for this Kingswood team, but unfortunately, when the pressure was on, he just couldn't hold the ball. He was thinking about what he was going to do with it once he got it. Saw the line staring at him. Ainun was in for all money if he caught that ball. And St. Thomas's are very, very lucky to escape. Bulat Singalage absolutely has to find touch. And does so at the risk of losing the ball.
Shanaka, we need to start thinking about who the candidates will be for the NTB player of the match. From the red camp, it will be the skipper and the deputy Ainun, and also Imanka Ishara, who have been instrumental in this Kingswood attack, and also the centre Bandar, who had a brief visit to the medicine table to get his head strapped up. He's been absolutely brilliant in that centre position. For St. Thomas's, Mahit Pereira, the double try scorer, and also the skipper Vian De Silva, alongside Yahan Bulat Singalage, who's had to do a lot of work at the back. Clear contenders in my book.
He's had to do a lot of work, but he's only done about half of it really well, Sudarshana. But I think Mahit Pereira, with those two early tries, and with some of his decision making today, is probably the man from St. Thomas's, and Imanka Ishara, and this man Bandara in the scrum cap. Still anything could happen. Nicely done by Baudwin there. Ishara stepping on that turf. Ainun. Good defensive work by St. Thomas's, meeting him in a wall of blue defense. Here's a little bit of space opening up, and just done enough did Kure to push Sikurajapati out into touch, and that is pretty much the end of the game. St. Thomas's will win, but it wasn't a pretty win. Kings would have done everything they possibly could, but unfortunately a few crucial mistakes at crucial times in this game meant that the ball and the match just slipped away from them. But Mahit Pereira, probably from the winning side, will need to be the NDB Bank man of the match.
Yes, I think Mahit Pereira, for his 2 tries and incredible work at first 5-8 for St. Thomas's College, deserve the accolade of being the player of the match. But both teams spilling their heart out, but the Thomians will be the happier and the most relieved one out of the lot, Shanak, especially given the fact that they were reduced to 14 men for the rest of the game in the 25th minute. It's never easy to try and get to the end with that pressure on you. But Thomians did it in style. Kingswood, on the other hand, tried their level best, but unfortunately, due to some simple errors, they will be taking the long ride back to Kandy, thinking, what if?
Well, they did score the try of the game, definitely. Some great hands from Kingswood off that free kick. Coach Shamli Nawaz slowly trudging to the middle, wondering how much more of this his heart can take. But the Kingswood team visibly gutted. It's a game that eventually finished in good spirits.
The dejected Dwight in that orange, he'll, despite the team going across the line, he'll be a dejected man. Luckily for him, St. Thomas has managed to try and see this game through.
Yes, he will be probably, he looks pretty down and out now, but he will be very relieved when he wakes up tomorrow morning knowing that his red card didn't have too much of an impact on the game. And it's really unfortunate because it wasn't a red card for foul play, Sudarshana, which is what he will be most disappointed about. It was just unfortunate, but that's what discipline means, making sure you don't do things as opposed to sometimes just doing things. Making sure you don't do what you're not supposed to do. So it'll be a hard lesson for him, but one that maybe his team will learn from as well. But hats off to this Kingswood team for staying in the fight till the final minute. Unfortunately, with 13 men against them, they just couldn't find the last pair of hands to send Ainun in the corner. And if they managed that, who knows what would have happened in this game. With St. Thomas's reduced to 13 for the final 5 or 6 minutes. Absolute drama from beginning to end. Some scintillating scores. And on the other end of the spectrum, some fairly ordinary play as well.
Full-time confirmation of a game that was fought to the last second. 28 points to 17. St. Thomas's winning this game with a bonus point in their camp as well. Kingswood, on the other hand, giving everything they possibly can to win this one, but come second best. Just like we did just at the halftime as well, Kiel's Crest Nightmare is the bite that bites back. It will be ideal accompaniment for these games that are happening all around the park here in Sri Lanka. Dialog Schools Rugby League in full swing. Third week, second match day of the third week, and on tomorrow we will have another game that's upcoming. Highlights of the game, Mahit Pereira, this is the decisive try that really secured the win for St. Thomas's College when they looked like they were under a lot of pressure with being reduced to 14 men. Mahit Pereira really tries things up. NDB, try of the match, no doubt. Imanka Ishara, the key man for Kingswood College, making sure that his team is still in the fight. They were in touching distance, but then the Thomian forwards rattling around each other, and LS Pereira touching down. for the second score in the second half for St. Thomas's College. Bulat Sinhala had a decent run with the boot, making sure St. Thomas's had a good day out here at Mount Lavinia. Key stats of the game: 4 tries, 4 conversions for St. Thomas's College, 28 points in their bank, and a bonus point for them as well. Kingswood College, 2 tries, both converted. The penalty adding up to 17 points. Will go back to Candy thinking, absolutely what if? Like we said, interesting week coming up, week 3 of Dialog Schools Rugby League 2023. We've just finished 5 matches. Final game of the week is going to be a thriller at Royal Complex. Wesley College taking on the Dons. DSN Anayaka College, one of the unbeaten teams in the league, alongside St. Peter's College and Zahira College, and also, of course, Isi Patana will take on Wesley College at Royal Complex. It's going to be a close one because both teams like to run the ball, and DSN Anayaka College are here to make a statement that they belong with the big boys. Next week, fixtures. We will have Isipathan taking on DSN Anayaka College on 7th of July. That's going to be a very interesting one at Havelock Park. Both teams like to run the ball. DSN Anayaka, despite getting that promotion this year, have been a team to be reckoned with. Wesley College taking on the Antonians at Balisara. That's going to be a real trouble for the Antonians, who played most of their games up in Kandy Vidyartha, taking on Dharmaraj in a hometown battle, alongside Trinity College taking on St. Peter's in Pallekale, with Royal hosting Zahira and Kingswood College hosting St. Joseph's College. Well, with that, we come to the end of the broadcast from Big Club Grounds here at St. Thomas's College. Alongside Sonak Amar Singh, our production and the technical crew, I'm Sudarshan Apedi signing off for thepapare.com.
Coloma, beautiful outside and inside. Coloma, beautiful outside and inside.
ඕනම දෙයක් කරන්න විදියක් තියෙනවා. ඒ තමයි තමන්ගේ විදිය. ජීවිතය අත්විඳින්න. ආත්ම විශ්වාසයෙන් නැගී සිටින්න. Gold ඔපම වෙන්න. Aloe vera and mint for freshness. Chamomile for sensitive skin. Lemon and lime for an energetic day. Big shaving foam. A change you must experience.
Coloma, beautiful outside and inside.
Hey, have you heard about Z?
ZZ. We KYC.
Easy.
Mobile banking. Crazy.
Education loans and salary advances. Amazing.
Introducing the Digital Youth Account. NDBZ. NDBZ from NDB Bank. The future is banking on us.
මේ ජොබ් එක අදම කරන්න ඕනේ. අදම? No problem.
ඕගොල්ලොත් එන්නේ ඉවෙන්ට් එකට. ඩ්‍රෙස් කෝඩ් එක black.
Black? No problem.
නව වැඩි දියුණු කළ ඩැන්ඩෙක්ස් ඇක්ටිව් ක්ලිම්බසෝල් පළමු සේදීමෙන්ම ඉස්සොරි ඉවත් කරයි. ස්වභාවික සාරයන් හිස පෝෂණය කරයි.
නටමුද?
No problem.
හැමදාම ඩැන්ඩෙක්ස් නම්
හැමදාම no problem.
ඩැන්ඩෙක්ස් හිස නිදහසේ ඉදිරියට.
නැවුම් බව රැකදෙන කුමාරිකා හම්බිට් සංවේදී සමකට කැමෝයිල් බික් ෂේවිං ෆෝම් අත්විදිය හැකි වෙනසකට. විශ්වාසයෙන් නැගී සිටින්න. Gold ඔපම වෙන්න.
හිත තාලනට වෙන වන්නිනිම වින්නුනා සරදාවී අතනාරි කොක්තුමී පම්තමා කොක්තුමී පම්තමා ප්‍රීමා කොක්තුමී පම්තමයි.
Enjoy the infinite possibilities of the freedom of space, inspired by the beauty of our land. Sri Lanka's finest finished, largest sized porcelain tile collection. Majestica. Lanka Tiles. Fine living redefined.
Cheese රසට යාළුව සෙට් එක ස්මයිලි බෙදනවා ඕන වෙලාවක ස්නැක් එක දැක්කම හිත ෆික්ස් වෙනවා සරද කැමති අය දවස පුරාවට සැරයිල්ලනවා කැලිප්සු මික්ස් එක ඕන වෙලාවක නැගලම යනවා බෝරින් ලයිෆ් එක බ්‍රේක් අප් කරගෙන සල්ස නටනවා ලුණු රටාවට අනියන් කික් එක ෆුල් හැපනින් වනවා රටටම රස බෙදෙන මංජි රස බලකාය දැන් අලුත් වෙලා.
Aloe vera and mint for freshness. Chamomile for sensitive skin. Lemon and lime for an energetic day. Big shaving foam. A change you must experience.
හිත තාලනට වෙන වන්නිනිම වින්නුනා සරදාවී අතනාරි කොක්තුමී පම්තමා කොක්තුමී පම්තමා ප්‍රීමා කොක්තුමී පම්තමයි.
Your embrace so warm with one more bite of Revelo for sunshine. Don't wanna miss this pouring rain, pleasing my soul with one more bite of Revelo for the rain. This freedom takes me north that I have never been.
Hey, have you heard about Z?
ZZ. We KYC.
Easy.
Mobile banking. Crazy.
Education loans and salary advances.
Amazing. Introducing the digital youth account. NDBZ. NDBZ from NDB Bank. The future is banking on us.
I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon. They sing on a sleepless night. Try to catch me howling at the moon.